All right, welcome into KC Sports Tonight, Tuesday, June 30th. A lot happening right now, and it feels only fitting to start with the knockouts of the World Cup. We are very much in them. We have seen the madness kind of begin, especially with that Netherlands-Morocco game last night going into PKs. Unfortunately, the Netherlands will be leaving us here in Kansas City, coming out on the bottom of that matchup. Gabe, what's been your favorite match of the knockouts so far?
Ooh. I wouldn't say that one because I think most of us wanted them to stick around.
Yeah.
And Paraguay and Germany wasn't great in the sense that Paraguay kind of just wanted to get to penalties, and then they did. And so the end of it was good theater. I would say that the Brazil-Japan was a great game.
Yeah.
A very competitive game, and then you get like the last-second goal. It's been really good games throughout the knockout round, and good games going out to the final game of the group stage of Austria and Algeria when they were here in Kansas City on Saturday night as well. So it's been delivering. Norway and Ivory Coast was competitive today.
Yeah.
France is just dominating. They're just dominating. So
Mbappe.
I don't know. Yesterday was just great soccer from start to finish. So it's been exciting to watch. You can't keep your eyes off of it. And now we've got a resignation, but a resignation with some heat on the seat for the Dutch head coach last night.
Yes. The Netherlands-Morocco game was crazy last night. I was watching a show, and I finished the final episode of it, and then I looked at my phone and realized that it was in PKs of that game, and I ran over to it. So I watched all of PKs, and I watched the first half of the game as well. It was entertaining, and that's been my favorite part so far of the knockouts is like a lot of the games in the group stage. I mean, you watch the World Cup action no matter what because it's the World Cup, and you love and appreciate it, but they weren't as competitive. And you look at certain matchups and you're like, oh, I'm not excited about that matchup. I'm excited about maybe one team in the matchup, but not the other one. Now a lot of those teams weeded out. And unfortunately, it feels unfortunate that the Netherlands and Morocco had to meet in the round of 32 because they were the number 6 and 7 ranked teams in the world. So it's unfortunate that the bracket worked out in the way that it did. But it still gave us a heck of a game. Obviously, Germany losing yesterday shocked the world, made my Germany heart sad. They were who I was rooting for in this one, other than the U.S., of course. So the knockouts have been delivering. The Netherlands, their coach, Ronald Koeman, has resigned. 63 years old, and he's coming to the end of his contract, and they announced that he's not going to be returning after that. A lot of questions I've seen since the game towards his decision making with how he went about certain things in last night's game after a dominant showing in the group stage and then just kind of a lot of questionable things. What did you notice about that game last night, Gabe?
I would say this. I come at soccer analysis from a pretty vibes-based perspective rather than analysis of the tactical decisions that they're making.
We're not pretending to be experts.
No, I'm watching, but I'm picking things up and I'm understanding things better than I used to. But yes. I would not say I'm a soccer expert. I didn't play growing up, and I am not as locked into it as basketball, football, or other things that maybe I feel a better pulse of what's going on.
But for 6 weeks, you're in it.
I will say, yeah, exactly. For 6 weeks during the World Cup, I'm in it. And I will say that sitting in the newsroom last night as we were watching the game and as a lot of us were talking about it, it was like, man, the Netherlands, like, they have not had the ball at all. And it seemed like they scored on a counterattack kind of out of nowhere, and it seemed like they were just hoping to win 1-0. And from that point on, they just defended, and they were willing to allow possession to Morocco for most of the night. It catches up to them. They give up a goal in stoppage time. The extra time was incredibly boring. It was 30 minutes of them not really trying to score at all and just kind of getting to penalty kicks. And then once they got to penalty kicks, that was good theater, but Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who he played club soccer for Ronald Koeman during his career, and he was super critical of his old coach and said, like, this is not the way that the Dutch play. The Dutch play to win. They look like they're playing not to lose. So I'll take his word for it because that's what it appeared like to me. And it appeared like for, you mentioned, two teams that are in the top 10 of FIFA's rankings. It looked a lot like the Netherlands were trying to do what Paraguay did to Germany earlier in the day. And Paraguay did that because they knew they were at a talent deficit against Germany.
Yeah.
Not because it was some insanely brilliant tactical move that other teams should follow. It was more of a talent deficit thing. So I think that the criticism of him seems warranted is the long way of saying it. And
I would love, last Thursday we had 36,000 people in orange in Kansas City marching down Grand. I would love to be able to talk to just a handful of the people from Holland and around the world who are diehard Netherlands fans. I would love to hear their point of view. I want to hear their opinions on this because this is very fresh. I mean, we only found out about an hour ago. So, Oranje Legion, come, where are you guys at? We want to talk. But yeah, we want to hear. I would love to know what they think about it because the Netherlands there's this very proud fan base who have been through so much heartbreak in the World Cup. Year after year after year. They get close and it just never happens. This really, after such a dominant group stage showing, it really felt like this was a year they could really make another deep run and maybe finally get over that hump and give the fans what they've been hoping to see there were fans that our team talked to that are older fans who have been waiting their entire lives to see the Netherlands win the World Cup. So that kind of stuff would be interesting to hear from their fan base. But as we know, they are leaving Kansas City today or tomorrow, or they're about to, whatever it is.
I think it's tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. So it's going to be heartbreaking. We enjoyed having them while it lasted. Thank you, Netherlands. But with that, we have a game to look forward to. Technically, we have two games to look forward to. We have the U.S.'s game tomorrow night, and then we have our KC match here on Friday night between Colombia and Ghana, which is going to be towards the tail end of the round of 32. We are all very excited for that one, of course. But the U.S., that is tomorrow night, taking on Bosnia-Herzegovina. Gabe, are you joining the pack of delusional U.S. fans who, I don't want to say delusional, but I think every U.S. fan that I've asked at Power and Light and other watch parties, how far do you think they're going to make it? All of them start by saying, I might be delusional, but I'm going to say this. So that's why I say that. Are you joining that pack? Do you think the U.S. is going to make a deep run?
I don't know what their end result is, but I would say
a lot of them said semifinals.
Oh. Okay, well, I think that they can make the quarterfinals. I think that they should win against Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then Belgium is a team that they would be expected to play. And if they play Belgium, they can beat that team. They're playing. They're in better form right now than Belgium was, and Belgium has been, and Belgium has struggled to win their group. Yes, they ended up winning the group, but they needed a lot more help to do it than the U.S. did to win Group D. So I feel really good about the way that things have gone, and it seems like maybe some of the air in the sails or the wind in the sails go out because they lose to Turkey, but that game didn't matter.
No. And they had 9 changes in the starting lineup.
They had so many changes in the starting lineup. The goaltender did not play very well, Matt Turner. So they'll probably go back to Matt Freese tomorrow night. And yeah, I'm confident. I think that I've looked at the odds. The odds don't make any sense to me. The odds are they're odds makers. It feels like are just taking advantage of the fact that people are pumped up on patriotism and American pride, because their odds to beat Bosnia and Herzegovina are the same as France's odds to beat Sweden. And there's a reason for that, because France is one of the 3 best teams in the world. Yeah. The U.S. is not that.
Yeah. So, what is their latest ranking, actually?
I think they were 15 or 14 in the most recent. So they're in the top 15 or top 16. And that's where I'm saying, I think that they should win tomorrow night.
15.
There you go. They should win tomorrow night. And then it's a coin flip game in the round of 16, but a coin flip game where you have home field advantage and you're playing in good form. Anything from there on is gravy in my book, and especially when you're looking at a potential quarterfinal against Spain if everything holds according to true, and then France in the semifinal. Like, if they play any of those teams, it will be an amazing test and one of the biggest soccer games in American soccer history, if not the biggest. So we'll see if they can get there. But it all starts with tomorrow night and not doing something dumb.
Yeah.
Against a team that you're way better than.
Exactly. And the U.S. has not had, like, I think it's 4 straight World Cups they've been knocked out in the knockout rounds. This is Bosnia and Herzegovina's first time in the knockout rounds. So it's, it's the classic tale of kind of similar with Paraguay with the first matchup when we did a bunch of analysis going into that. Like, the U.S. was just the far more experienced team. And Paraguay was just happy to be in the World Cup for the first time in a very, very, very long time. And now look at them. They're in the round of 16.
Yeah.
How about you, Paraguay? But, I mean, you mentioned the Turkey matchup, and I, have kind of forgotten that the Turkey matchup even happened. Like, the only reason that we even cared about that game was because it would have been historic if the U.S. started 3-0, because it would have been the first time since 1930, which was the first World Cup. And like we said, they switched out 9 players in the starting lineup. Their star, who's just stunned all of the U.S. and everyone absolutely adores him, Fowler Balogun, who's come out and been the guy that the U.S. has been searching for years, a just true goal scorer that the U.S. has been lacking for forever. And then, Christian Pulisic dealing with injury stuff, not playing against Australia, and not playing at all against Turkey, of course, though he was available, but there was absolutely no reason to push his injury even further. There were a bunch of guys with yellow card situations, including Balogun, so it just wasn't the U.S. team that we're going to see for the rest of the tournament. So I've kind of I've forgotten about the Turkey matchup. But yeah, so I think I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I think the U.S. is making the quarterfinal. I don't know who would be the favorite in the bracket. They would face Spain. Yeah,
and they would be underdogs. Pretty significant underdogs.
Yeah. So I'm giving them to the quarterfinal, and then from there, maybe I'll just continue drinking the Kool-Aid. Maybe I'll see just how it goes for the next 2 games. Who knows?
But
anything can happen.
They would have the advantage that Spain would then have to fly cross country.
Yeah.
And the U.S. has been on the West Coast the entire time. It's been L.A., Seattle, L.A., the Bay Area. It could be Seattle if they win again and go to the round of 16. And then I think if they win in the round of 16, it's back to LA. So
yeah.
That
shakes out pretty nicely.
We'll see how it goes, but they're in a decent spot.
Yeah, we're drinking the Kool-Aid. Go USA tomorrow night. Very excited. Oh no, wrong direction. Come on. There we go. Okay. Still staying with soccer, but we're going to the women's side because the KC Current, some big news coming out of the team today. They have given their proposal for what an expansion would look like at CPKC Stadium, which is already historic and iconic and game-changing, being the first ever purpose-built stadium for women's sports. And they want to add to it. I've been to so many KC Current games, and every time I hear today's attendance is a sold-out crowd of 11,500. And I remember a while ago, I tried to get tickets for a game one time, and it was near impossible because everyone wants to go watch this soccer team. They are the team to support. They are fun to watch, even if they lost a few games more than usual this season. They never lose at home. They literally have not lost at home since 2024, other than the playoff game last year. So they're the most entertaining team to watch, and they're going to try and add 6,500 seats to their stadium to make their capacity now 18,000. And this also includes expansion to the rest of the riverfront and that whole surrounding area by bringing in an entertainment district, trails, retail, and then what everyone wants to know, a transient parking garage right across the street. Because if you've tried to go to a KC Current game, parking has not been ideal. I've had to walk through my fair share of like mud on the ground when like you're walking through the gravel and it rained that morning or the night before. So yeah, the new plans do in fact include a parking garage. So there will be no more parking, as Bill Hurlbrink once posted in a video, park all the way somewhere at a library in the River Market and then or in downtown and then take a streetcar up to the River Market and then walk from the River Market across the bridge to the stadium. So ideally there would be no more of that. What, Gabe, your thoughts on, I mean, this stadium was only built it was finished in 2024. It's when the Casey Curran moved in, and already 2 years later, they're ready to expand. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I understand the vision for it. I would say that the demand certainly, it appears, exceeds the supply from what the current capacity is. Now, I'm sure that people smarter than me and people who are in the front office for the current are aware, you would think, of what the level of demand is and what the correct amount of expansion is, where you get to the point where you don't completely devalue your tickets and you don't completely neutralize the home field advantage of things, of it being packed out and people being excited to be there versus it just being easy to grab a ticket and easy to get into. I think that if this is a move that gets them a Women's World Cup game in the future or a Rugby World Cup or something along those lines, I think that's the vision for this venue. It's just crazy to me that they're already doing this.
Yeah, because
so
the demand is there, like
shortly
you
after putting it together and opening the place a couple years ago. So I guess I'm in wait and see mode on like how it all comes together. But that whole area, I was down there last week or 2 weeks ago for the on match day with Argentina's hotel down there, and there's still a lot of construction down in that area.
Yeah.
So there's a lot being worked on, and it's just continuing. And we're about to have shovels in the ground in the Crown Center area probably at some point next year. So there's just a lot of development in Kansas City in general.
Yeah.
Especially in relation to all of these stadiums with all of these teams.
And on the Kansas side as well with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good sign. I'm sure like people are going to find complaints with it because construction always brings complaints, but it's also a great sign because like this is just one of the best sports cities in the country, and the World Cup is proving that. We've already proved that with, just we're a city of champions. We've got the Chiefs, Casey Curran, the other two professional teams not quite winning championships right now. But yeah, like you mentioned, like this, I think having the extra seating in CPKC Stadium is going to be huge in terms of getting a bid for rugby and the Women's World Cup, which would happen down the line. But that is something that's going to be decided in the very near future, and Kansas City Sports Commission wants. So yeah, I think it's huge. We've seen them already hosting, international rugby games between the U.S. and Canada and Australia, and that's been successful. So why not add to it? We mentioned those teams that are not champions right now, and so we must talk about the Royals. They have their final homestand beginning tonight before the All-Star break, which is next week. They're going to take on the Rays. They just played the Rays about a week ago.
Yep.
Out in Tampa. Jack Caglione putting on quite a performance in his hometown. Homer after homer after homer, but they did split that 4-game series 2-2. Quick turnaround to face them right again. Gabe, they've had a day off. The Royals. At this point in the season, you're checked out, right? Not checked out, but given up.
Not checked out, but definitely frustrated. I think everyone has a right to be frustrated. And me and Mark talked about this on the show last week with whether they should bring Bobby Witt Jr. back or not from injury, because there's been so many different injuries for this team this year. And I am not pointing to the injuries as the reason for this team not being good. They had flaws before everyone started getting injured.
Yeah.
The injuries have made it worse to the point where we are back in 2026 Royals baseball being a lot like 2023 Royals baseball, in my opinion, where
Yeah.
2023 Royals baseball was very apparent early on that the team was not going to be good, but at least Bobby Witt Jr. was going to be fun to watch, and he blossomed, and June, July, August was when he started to really crush and became the player that he was in 2024, which is an MVP candidate. So if Bobby is healthy, he's worth watching every single night, obviously. We know that. But this year and this summer has been as frustrating as it has been. At least Carter Jensen and Jack Caglione have been a lot of fun to watch this month.
Yeah.
Carter's on a 19-game hitting streak, which is one of the longest for a rookie in Royals history. Jack Caglione has a great argument to be an all-star.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't getting the votes from the fans, and I understand that Royals fans have not stuffed the ballots for anybody other than Bobby Witt Jr.
Nope.
Understandable. But in the middle of when the ballots opened to when the ballots closed for phase one of the voting, Jack Caglione became a guy who has absolutely an all-star resume right now. So I would hope that a lot like what happened with Michael Garcia last year, once the roster comes out and it gets put together and then the manager's choices and all of the other things that get done to fill things out, I hope Jack Caglione gets to be an all-star. I hope that Bobby Witt Jr. gets to be one. I think Daniel Lynch is still deserving with his numbers. Those would be the three Royals that I think should go to Philadelphia this in a couple weeks when the All-Star game is there. And who knows, maybe Jack Caglione gets put in the home run derby and we get to see that happen too, and he gets to hit moonshots at Citizens Bank Park.
We'd love nothing more. Give us something to smile about.
Yeah. So there is that. But it does still feel like they're doing a couple days of good baseball, a couple days of really bad baseball, specifically Friday night with the 22-1 and
the worst deficit
Saturday
in franchise history.
Throwing balls that are actively hurting their teammates. So there was that. But I'll be out there a couple times this week. So
we are just hoping that there are some things for us to look forward to. All-Stars, home run derby.
Yeah.
And then, something for this week still to look forward to each night of this homestand is the fact that Carter Jensen is on this hitting streak. 19 games. He can make that 20 tonight. And I believe it's already the highest of any Royals rookie. Yeah, youngest player to ever reach that. So the hometown kids put on a show. Jack Caglione's put on a show. The top two prospects are actively here, being two of the only players to do anything. Bobby Witt Jr. Is being Bobby Witt Jr. So, there's still some things to look forward to. But as of right now, it's hard to, commit yourself to, going and spending $120 for, two people to go to the ballpark for the night, pay for parking, all that stuff. So the Royals, they've been roiling.
Cool bobblehead Saturday night.
Cool bobblehead on Saturday night for the 4th of July. Woo!
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, and it's also going to be hot, so that doesn't help
that's
either.
True.
But before we go, we're going to talk a little NBA. We may not have an NBA team here in Kansas City, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about the NBA because obviously LeBron James is a very big topic in the sports world today, announcing that he is not going to be returning to the Lakers, but he does still intend to play another season in the NBA. Where do you think he's going to end up, Gabe? Maybe a few options.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of options. I have my mind open. It could go any way. I think that Golden State has been rumored, him and Steph Curry teaming up.
That is the big one that I heard.
But also cool. They were rivals a decade ago when they were facing off in the finals every year. They have not been rivals because the Warriors have finished 4th or 5th in their division in 3 of the last 4 years, and they've missed the playoffs 2 of the last 4 years since they won the title in 2022. So that would be cool just to see kind of the old guard go up against the new young guys in San Antonio and Oklahoma City and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes back to Cleveland. Maybe he goes back to Miami they just got Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that 41-year-old, soon to be 42-year-old LeBron James wants to move to San Antonio, Texas. But I would say if you watch the NBA Finals, one of the things that that Spurs could probably use is a Swiss Army knife 4-man that can play power forward and pass the ball to Victor Wembanyama and do all those kinds of things. So he could fit there if he truly, like, if he wants to ring chase. A lot of people are saying Warriors, oh, that's ring chasing. That's not ring chasing. That's just, oh, let's have some fun and play basketball with Steph, because I like doing that in the Olympics.
Someone did describe that to me as, like, imagine if, like, Patrick Mahomes went to the Bills, like, in his final year in the NFL.
So different. But it's so different and
similar.
And I think a lot of people thought that the Lakers era of LeBron was going to be like the Wizards era for Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more competitive than that, and he won a title there. So he can do whatever he wants. I'm just glad we're going to get to keep watching him play basketball.
Yeah.
And that he's still doing this at this age. It's crazy for a guy who came into the league in 2003.
Yeah. I was 3 years old. We both were 3 years old. Yeah. But another piece of the NBA free agency and trading madness that's going on right now is a former KU star, Grady Dick, who did a one and done with the Jayhawks a few years ago. He is a Kansas kid, played at Sunshine down in the Wichita area, and he is going to be joining another Kansas kid who just got drafted at 5th overall to the LA Clippers, Keaton Wagler, out of Shawnee Mission Northwest. The Clippers are sending Kawhi Leonard to Toronto, and Grady Dick is part of the trade from Toronto going to LA. So 2 Kansas kids out there in LA on the Clippers. I think that's kind of a fun little tidbit that I realized after I thought about it for a sec. But yeah, it's always hard for us to keep up with what all of the Jayhawks are doing at all different times, but because there are just so many of them in the NBA. But that's a cool little tidbit. 2 Kansas kids just out in LA. Yeah,
and NBA free agency opens tonight at, I think, 11 p.m. Central Time. So who knows? We'll be on LeBron watch. But
who's going to call LeBron at 11 p.m.?
Yeah,
or his agent,
I think that the calls have already started, even if the tampering period is not open officially. So I will say good luck for Grady Dick, because he needed a change of scenery. He had a rough year with the Raptors last year. So good luck for him. Keaton Wagler. I don't know if the Clippers will play a lot of competitive basketball, but they'll get some young guys out there playing. And
that's why they drafted Keaton Wagler.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to do it for us on KC Sports Tonight. Here every weekday at 5:30 and on the weekends over the air at 10:30. Adios.